Hi everyone, it's Miss Brenner. I'm here to go over our sub-agenda 1 for science fiction. Now, just so you're aware, this agenda can be used for a multitude of different reasons throughout the entirety of our course together. So, this agenda could be used if we switch from green to yellow phase or yellow to red phase. It could also be used if for some reason I should have to be quarantined. So, the content that's being covered in this agenda is fairly universal for our course, and therefore it covers things like elements of plot and new stories that we haven't discussed yet, but it can be used at any time. So let's talk a little bit about the steps that we go through every week. So you're going to watch this video for the agenda, and you're going to look at the slides via Google on Schoology. You're then going to complete all the activities for the week. The assignments open at 8 a.m. on Monday, and they close at 8 a.m. the following Monday. We've gone over our grading policy before, but I do want to reiterate that all grades will be recorded in Schoology and transferred to home access through eSchool. So I highly recommend checking your grades on a regular basis and making sure that you look through home access because it's going to be the most recently updated and it's going to show you your total for the marking period. So with that being said, students are required to complete weekly assignments in accordance with the Mannheim Central School District grading policy. If you have any questions about these policies, please make sure to email me. My email is Brenner, BRENNERS, at mannheimcentral.org, or you can email me through Schoology, so that way it should show up right away since I am your teacher online. Alright, completed assignments will be recorded with the appropriate grade in the grade book. So unsuccessfully completed or ungraded assignments will be recorded as follows. So you'll have an EX, which is an excused, an I for incomplete, an NS for not submitted, or an NG, not yet graded. Not yet graded would be used for if it's a group project or a essay that I want to make sure that you're aware that I received it, but I haven't gotten to grade it yet since I had 20 essays to grade. That's when NG would be used. But as far as EX, I, or NS, those are different signs in the gradebook that you should contact me and talk to me about because maybe the assignment is late, but you could still get credit for it. So please keep that in mind. Alright, so our weekly expectations are that we're going to go over the grading policy like we just did. We're going to talk about course structure, the weekly assignments, and grade point breakdown like we were just doing, and then elements of plot. Students are going to need to know the online class expectations and elements of plot. You're going to need to be able to use the Zoom platform, respond on Schoology, and use Google Documents that are linked through Schoology. So some of our essential questions: how does the author's perspective impact the plot of a story? And how do characters' behaviors push the plot forward? So these are all things to think about when reading the following stories. So let's start with activity 1. We're going to be listening to an audio short story. The PDF and the audio will be linked on Schoology. The story that we'll be reading and listening to is Flowers for Algernon. So in the activity 1 and 2 folder that is linked on Schoology, it has the Flowers for Algernon audio link from YouTube, so that way you can listen to the story while you read it. The PDF copy is also linked for Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes. Reading questions are linked in the Activity 1 and 2 folder, and they are labeled Flowers for Algernon reading questions. So if we look at Schoology, I'm going to pull this out a little bit, we can see that here's our agenda at the top, and then I'm going to pull this over. Our Activity 1 and 2 folder is right here. And you can see the links for the audio, the PDF, and the questions. Alright, Activity 2. Alright, I have to keep re-navigating the screen. Alright, so like I said, 1 and 2 are going to be reading the story Flowers for Algernon and completing the questions for Activities 1 and 2. The links are in the folder for Activities 1 and 2. Activity 3 is our audio short story discussion. there is a discussion post in the Activity 3 folder. You're going to need to go into that folder and pull up the discussion. The discussion questions are, what are 3 conflicts within the story? And you need to identify the form of conflict and explain. And how do you believe the story really ends? You'll need to explain that as well. All right. For Wednesday creative writing, we have 4 options for our creative writing. These are our 4 different options. So you need to write something inspired by a dream you had. You can add descriptive details to capture the imagination of your reader. You can envision a dragon. Do you battle him, or is the dragon friendly? You need to use descriptive language, though, in your writing prompt. Imagine you are someone's shadow for a day. What adventures might occur if this were to happen? And what if your reflection in a mirror started talking to you? What might the you in the mirror say? So those are our 4 different creative writing prompts for the week. You need to pick one and complete it in a minimum of 10 sentences. Activity 4 is a plot diagram for the short story Flowers for Algernon. So, once again, if we go into our sub 1 folder and we look at all the different folders, here's our creative writing for the week. If we open that, we would be able to see the writing prompt. Activity 3 would be our discussion. Activity 4 has a linked plot diagram. So you're going to click on that and fill in the plot diagram for the story. Activity 5, The More You Know, which is about research topics to investigate and practice information gathering. So here are some suggested research topics, though if you have something that personally interests you, please always feel free to email me and inform me about it. So, research a national awareness event in this month. Research how a common household item was invented or is made currently today. Research the COVID-19 virus in the United States and interview a friend, family member, or neighbor about the events they are currently experiencing influenced by COVID-19. Or you can research a school-appropriate topic of your own personal interest. So that could be sports, social justice, scientific discoveries, but just make sure that you include all used sources in your informative writing. So inform the class about your recently gained expert knowledge about a listed topic. Use citations to give credit to the original author when referencing or quoting research materials. All right, so that would be the More You Know activity. That's for Activity 5. Activity 6 is silent reading. Every week we read for 30 minutes a day, which makes a total of 150 minutes throughout the week. You can read in smaller chunks. You can read all at once, but please make sure that you have your reading completed for the week. As far as our discussion, we're going to ask a family member, friend, or neighbor what they are reading and share the progress of their book and your book as well. Remember to consider social distancing, maybe phone or FaceTime a friend in order to ask them this question. You need to comment on one other student's discussion post about what they are reading as well. And that would be our silent reading activity for the week. As far as review resources should be used whenever students have completed all other activities and should be used on Wednesdays for a minimum of 15 minutes. So, our resources that are available are our vocabulary.com, which you all have already been linked into, and our IXL, which you can link into through Clever. I know you guys have signed in prior, but I highly recommend using Clever in order to get into IXL. As far as research articles, I highly recommend CNN 10, which is a student-appropriate daily news blog on YouTube. The New York Times has several different student-approved articles, as well as Student News Daily. They have wonderful different news outlets that are appropriate for school-age learners. As far as the suggested article, I have an article about the cost of things like DoorDash and Postmates. or Grubhub, I highly recommend reading it. And those are our different review resources for the week. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to email me. As far as our Zoom sessions, do know that as of this time, I am not sure how Zoom will operate if I am not around to host the Zoom sessions. So you will get an email from me clarifying how Zoom will work, whether a sub will use Zoom to contact you, or if the school will set up the Zoom, or if I will still be allowed to run the Zoom. You will find all that out in an email. I hope that you are all well, and I can't wait till I get to see you guys again. Have a wonderful day. Bye.